Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's my absolute pleasure to be here with you today. I want to start by saying thank you to Jacqueline and hello to everyone. Like which? Tanzi, bonjour. Before I get started, I want to take a moment to recognize Jacqueline and thank her for emceeing us today. I really appreciate that in you. And Jacqueline spoke a bit about our relationship. And what really attracted me in the friendship that I developed with Jacqueline wasn't so much her role as a school trustee, but was her role as a veteran of the Canadian Forces military, which is something near and dear to my heart. And Jacqueline has been very upfront about the importance of mental health awareness, especially for our returning veterans. And so this has been the key connection, I think, between Jacqueline and myself. It's a great honor to be with you today, and I want to thank the team at Bayview Construction for putting their work on hold and hosting us. Blake, John, and Jeff are absolutely terrific individuals, and more importantly, entrepreneurs that our province can be proud of. These are the individuals that not only work in our communities, they live in our communities, and you are as likely to see Blake, John, and Jeff here at Bayview Construction as you would at any Bomber game. They are invested in our community, and I thank Bayview for that. Companies like Bayview will and have always played a significant role in our post-pandemic recovery of our communities and our economy. In these challenging times, the last year and a half, construction really has mattered more than ever. You have employed Manitobans, and you have continued to build the infrastructure we need now and for future growth. But like most every industry in the economy, you have faced shutdowns, operational restrictions, disrupted supply chains, and greater uncertainty than ever before. And really, that's why we are here today. To ensure that companies like yours, Bayview, the PC Party of Manitoba, our government, and all Manitobans can emerge stronger than ever after this pandemic. I know that COVID-19 was the first time that many businesses and individuals had to reach out to government for assistance. Many people I know, and that you know, parents, children, colleagues, and friends struggled in new and profound ways they didn't even dream that they would need. Knowing when and how to ask for help is a concept I had to learn very early in my life. My father passed away when I was 10. My mother battled mental health issues entire life and passed away when I was 20. Out of necessity, I had to learn the dual lessons of depending on oneself while recognizing that asking for help is always a good option. When I attended Brandon University, I worked 80-hour weeks with 3 jobs just to make ends meet while I finished my studies. I worked at a restaurant during the evenings and weekends. I did paid research for the Brandon University Political Studies Chair. I also worked and volunteered with probation services, supporting both offenders and victims. I dealt with people that were very much victims of their circumstances, along with individuals that would never take responsibility or accountability for their actions. My volunteering here led to 2 paid positions through the Provincial Step Student Program, an employment program that still exists today. By the end of my experience, I had a full caseload in probation services and was writing pre-sentence and predisposition reports for the courts. All of this is to say that my story is very similar to the story of any other Manitoban. During this pandemic, I don't know a single person that hasn't had to adapt and adjust to get to tomorrow. Whether that be picking up extra shifts to put food on the table, pivoting a business model anew to adapt to changing restrictions, juggling remote work and remote school, everyone has had a full plate of change, and many have been dependent on government for the first times in their lives. And as a government, we have not always been there for you, when we should have. We haven't always consulted you before making the necessary and important decisions. We haven't always listened to your requests for help. And I'm here today to tell you that that will change, and we're going to do better. And that's why I am running to be the PC Party of Manitoba leader and the next Premier of Manitoba. Over the last number of weeks, I've been speaking to Manitobans who want change for our party and our province. We know the road we're on will not lead us to government in 2023. That much is clear. But we know what will. And that's a PC party focused on what matters to Manitobans. I want to work with you to rebuild a PC party that is positive, inclusive, and full of hope. A pragmatic party focused on finding real solutions to real problems, not bound by ideology. A party we can all be proud of to call home. I'm prepared to get to work with you and for you and your families. And I believe, based on consultation and dialogue, that I have the most detailed vision that articulates a clear path for our party and our province. Like many Manitobans, I believe that advancing reconciliation with Indigenous peoples and communities needs to be a first priority of the next Premier of Manitoba. Redressing the legacy of residential schools and advancing reconciliation are critical areas of public policy making. And as we work together with First Nations, Métis, and Inuit governments, organizations, and individuals to build a better life here in Manitoba for all of us. So first and foremost, a sincere and long-term government commitment to reconciliation with Indigenous peoples will be my first priority as Premier of Manitoba. Manitobans are also telling us that we have more to do to improve access and coordination of mental health services and addiction services across our province. Too many kids are returning to school with anxiety, depression, and other challenges as they were forced to cope and adjust to school during the pandemic year. Educators are simply not prepared for the mental health issues that kids are bringing back with them, nor should they have to be prepared. So we're going to work with school divisions to hire additional school counselors, expand access to culturally appropriate counseling, and fund additional resources to teach children about the importance of self-care. We will create a mental health committee of cabinet chaired by the Premier to improve coordination of mental health services across government. And we have to set aside ideology to ensure Manitobans get the support they need to overcome their addiction challenges. If safe consumption sites save lives, we can no longer afford to wait. We will explore a low-barrier supervised consumption site for Winnipeg that aligns with our ongoing harm reduction efforts and substance use services offered by the province's RAM clinics. Another reality for Manitobans is we know our climate is changing. Talk to a farmer and you'll hear all about it. We've seen it firsthand through rising temperatures, extreme flooding, and now devastating drought in our province. We're going to develop both a short and long-term water retention strategy. We will invest in flood mitigation infrastructure, including closer partnership with Indigenous communities on Lake Manitoba and Lake St. Martin Outlet Channel projects. Manitobans know we have to take action on climate change and have consistently shown their support for green initiatives. We're going to expand the scope of energy efficiency incentives to lower energy bills and GHGs, and keep the home renovation sector growing. We will enhance efficient trucking program rebates for Manitoba's trucking industry to retrofit equipment and improve mileage, again, while reducing GHGs. And we can't waste time on court battles with the federal government when we have work to do to protect our climate and our future. We will move past the carbon tax debate and work with the government of Manitoba to ensure any federal climate initiative recognizes Manitoba's circumstances and are in the best interest of Manitobans. And the last thing I hear a lot about is leadership these days. What it means, what it looks like, and how you will be different. Good leadership to me is about surrounding yourself with people smarter than yourself. I'll be honest, it's not that difficult. But more importantly, it's about listening to those people. It's the actions that define a leader. Leadership in a post-pandemic Manitoba starts with open, transparent communication and ensuring Manitobans know how and why decisions are being made. I will lead a government to create healthier classrooms, investing in better ventilation and air quality systems, reevaluating the physical design of our historic investment in the consultation and construction of 20 new schools across this province, will work to build a healthcare system that works, exploring new solutions to explore surgical backlogs, streamlining wait lists that have grown during the pandemic, working to end labor uncertainty within the system by hiring more nurses, and importantly, finalizing collective agreements so our healthcare teams can focus on what matters most, the health of Manitobans. I will lead our government to grow our economy with continued investment in broadband across Manitoba, a 2-year extension of Manitoba's tourism rebate incentive program, creation of a micro-fund loan program to help non-traditional entrepreneurs with access to capital, elimination of the farmland education tax within the next budget, and matching the federal personal income tax exemption within 5 years. And while we're all here, I will lead the PC Party of Manitoba. This starts with open and consistent dialogue with party members like you to ensure that your voice is reflected in our policies going into 2023. This is how we're going to do it, brick by brick, voter by voter. We will work together to build a PC party. We have work to do. There is no question of that. But I have every confidence that we are up to the challenge. So please, continue to encourage your network for choice and change by renewing or purchasing your PC membership today and entering my name at the bottom for leadership candidate attribution. Remember, only members are eligible to vote for the PC party leader and ultimately the Premier of Manitoba. Once again, I want to thank everyone for being here today, for supporting me. A special thank you to my partner Rena and my 3 kids for not rolling their eyes too much at Dad's venture. So again, God bless you all.